Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this video we're going to be looking at the 1992 European and Japanese exclusive figure Boss. I just mentioned that this figure was only available in Europe and Japan. He came out in Europe and he was actually known as Boss, although you'll see on the figure, the carded figure next to it, because that's the Italian variant made by Gig, they've changed his name to Tigre. But as I say, he is known as Boss. That's what he was referred to as on any of the other English packaging. But as I've just said as well, when he came out in Japan, he was also known as Mach, and he came out in a 2-pack with the flare jet. Unfortunately, I haven't got one of them, but this is the figure we're going to be talking about, Boss. So he was, as I say, one of the turbomasters, and he was literally released right at the very end of the Generation 1 continuity, so that's why some of you might not have seen him. The transformation is quite basic. I'm going to have a look at the figure in a second, but what I do want to show you first and foremost is the artwork on the packaging and then the figure itself. So if we have a look at the head sculpt on the packaging, you'll see that that's literally, unfortunately, nothing really like the actual head and the toy. A lot of the later Transformers toys released in 1992, a lot of the head sculpts on the packaging didn't really match the actual toy. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you a cool thing about the toy. I've got a torch here, and if you watch his eyes, if you shine a light there onto the back of his head, you can clearly see that his eyes light up. So that's one of the cool things that the turbomasters all could do. Right then, as I say, so looking at the figure itself, it does transform into that car. I'm going to transform the other one in a second as well to look like it. So you can see, as I say, there's not much articulation. You've just got, as I say, the legs where they fold out, and you can clearly tell that's a car. But again, it's quite a cool figure. The missiles do fire. I'll show you then when I transform him into car mode. So there he is. That's him in robot mode. I'm going to transform him now, and then we'll come back and have a look at the other things about him. Right, there he is in his alternate mode. I've transformed him into his concept car mode as he's known. The transformation is obviously quite basic, you can tell by the figure. It does remind me a lot of Generation 1 Mirage, because you have to flip the waist 180 degrees to get him to turn the face the right way. You'll see a little bit more of that in a second on the back of the card. So let's have a look at it then. So we've got the 2 missiles at the back there, and we've got the missile launcher at the front. This is quite cool, the fact that you can aim it up and down. And I can't confirm it, but it might be one of the reasons why this wasn't released in the US. But because of this firing missile, it didn't pass the US safety regulations. As you'll see now, it does fire it with a little bit of venom. So I'm going to press that now, and bang, straight off and fires back. So could be the reason you didn't see it in the States. Obviously can't confirm that. While we're looking at the car then, it's quite an original, maybe, or I suppose it's not many. You don't see many concept cars like this. The only thing I suppose you can relate it to was, dare we say it, the Batman film released a couple of years with Michael Keaton in it. It does look a little bit like that, but of course they can't say that. While we're looking at him in the alternate mode, that's how it is in the packaging. We'll take an extra look at the back of the packaging now. Now, unfortunately, after a lot of the boxes of the first release of G1 figures, the packaging wasn't anywhere near as exciting. So gone are the battle scenes. Unfortunately, you've just literally got the transformation on the back. So as I say, there we go, we take the weapon out, fold the legs out, flip at the waist and turn him round. So as I say, not a very exciting transformation at all. However, the figure itself, it is quite cool for the reasons that I've shown you. Again, he came out in Europe known as Boss, and he was released in Japan as part of the 2-pack of figures. And there's just one more thing I want to run through with you before I wrap this up. The last thing I wanted to show you really was just, if you're thinking of getting one yourself, you don't always have to buy complete figures, but I think with these, because the fact that his accessories make such a big point to the car, you can clearly see now that, you know, if you wanted to get one and display it in car mode, you'd have to go for one that's complete, because it just looks awful like that. Robot mode, obviously, you get away with without the weapon, but if you're looking to get one yourself, you really need to be having the gun as well. Right, this concludes our look at the European exclusive figure Boss. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.